using him up off down the front straightaway.
Oh, spin right in front of him. Todd Bodine gets into the wall. That will bring out another caution, the 9th of the day here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. It is heating up.
And that will give Johnny Benson an opportunity to try to do something with Ron Hornaday on a restart.
Wow. Todd Bodine back up through the gears.
This is tense. We had two groups of trucks bail off into turn 1, 3 wide.
And
let's see
work out.
Yeah, let's see what happened to Todd Bodine this last time down there in turn number 1. See David Starr down on the inside. That's the 3rd truck that David Starr has been on the inside of and made contact with that left rear, and it puts Todd Bodine into the outside wall.
Man.
Take a look at David Starr's onboard.
You can see Todd left him plenty of room. He just didn't have control of his truck.
And that's, like you said, 3 times we've seen David Starr in that exact same situation.
You know, when you get wrecked like that, when you wreck somebody like that the first time, everybody says it's hard road to hoe down there on the bottom. But the 3rd time, you have to start saying, dude, give me a break.
A lot of damage to that Lumber Liquidators Toyota of Todd Bodine. One of our top 5 point contenders, looking for a good run here.
Yeah, does he almost have to limp his way around now? I mean, he can't come back to pit road.
Oh yeah, I think Todd Bodine will come.
Does he have to?
Oh yeah, he's got to fix that truck.
Yeah. A lot of damage.
Right now, if the race were to end like they're running, Ron Hornaday would gain 20 points on Johnny Benson. If you remember the math at the beginning of the race.
What's he supposed to gain?
15. Only 15. So he's gonna make a little bit better move than what I had averaged for him for the last 8 races.
But I just found that terribly interesting. You repeated Ron's finish of the last. Johnny's finishes first, third, 5th, and yet we are saying, here comes Ron. Ron's gonna get him. Ray.
Good bit of damage on the left side here for Todd Bodine's Lumber Liquidators Toyota. Puka is pulling out that front fender. They're going to put some tires on this thing, and you see on the very back, the spoiler and the rear end is sucked way up in the air. Whether or not he'll be able to keep this thing under him, I'm not sure. Even though we only have a few laps left, they put left side tires on it and some fuel.
Issues going on down on pit road right now. David Starr obviously staying in his truck, now climbing out. He's got some enemies on the racetrack right now, and they are going to fight it out. Not happy at all. These 2 teams mixing it up. The NASCAR officials are jumping in. The problem took place when David Starr moved all the way up and got right up next to the 30 of Todd Bodine on the pit road.
That started before the 30 moved up to the 11. They exchanged some words, and the 11 drove away from him, and then the 30 pulled away from the 11, and then the 11 came back at the 30 on pit road. NASCAR will not think much of this activity. It's one thing to argue with one another, but driving your truck over toward it. You can see this is after the race. Todd comes flying up to David Starr, gives him a little hit in the rear end, and he's gonna pull up beside him and tell him what he thought of that. Okay, they're on pit road, and so this is a little bit out of bounds. But here goes Todd. Todd just separates himself, but then the 11 decides he's gonna go get him some of it.
Todd gets out of his car or his truck.
Emotions run high down here, Adam.
And Mike Hillman Sr. and Mike Hillman Jr., 2 of the guys that are involved, and they're back at it again. They had slowed it down. The NASCAR officials had calmed everyone down. David Starr climbed from his truck, and now there are 4 or 5 guys from Germane Racing going after David Starr. One of them climbing up on Todd Bodine's truck. And things starting to simmer once again. A NASCAR official has got a hold of Mike Hillman Sr., Dennis Adcock, one of the lead officials for NASCAR, right in the middle of this. It had settled down after one of the guys from Germane Racing had pulled David Starr from his truck with him still having his helmet on. Then everybody calmed down. Mike Hillman Jr., the crew chief for Todd Bodine, came down, and Mike Hillman Sr., the general manager for Germane Racing, was down here as well. And once again, it would appear that NASCAR has got this under control. But we know what it's like on short tracks. Todd Bodine getting turned late in the race, and we see the result.
This is the incident that took place. That was David Starr getting into the back of the 30.
Now Todd Bodine is down here talking to David Starr, and this a much calmer situation than what we've seen from Todd's crew members.
Here we're seeing the contact again from David Starr's onboard at him, and obviously, you know, the emotions run high there. There we see David Starr walking away. Some of his guys escorting him.
Heated tempers, both on the racetrack and now off the racetrack on pit road. And welcome back. This is Mike Hillman Sr. at the NASCAR hauler, and here comes the police moving up. Obviously, a little scuffle has taken place. Robin Pemberton, Gary Smith of NASCAR down there talking to Mike Hillman Sr. Obviously, they're going to be pulling him into the hauler and talking to them. Again, the incident that took place after the race, you see the two trucks and the two players that were involved in the actually off the track scuffle that took place. But David Starr was involved in 3 separate incidents on the racetrack. Let's take a look back at those individually. The 81 of Donnie Lee on the outside. This is the first one.
The 81 gets loose on the inside. We see it happen so often. Donnie Lee pays the price.
The 11 was loose down under the 81. The 81 didn't do anything wrong. Neither did Rudeman. Just Starr's loose on the inside of him. Then we see the same thing again with Todd Bodine. So there's 3 crashes that Starr was involved with. Now, David Starr might argue that Todd didn't give him enough room, but
this is after the race now, after the checkered flag. Todd Bodine runs in the back of David Starr to note his displeasure with what happened on the racetrack.
And again, these two drivers, I mean, for the most part, were staying in their trucks. Their teams came down and were voicing their opinions, and that's where the teams got into very heated situation. There you see David Starr still with his helmet on, but the teams are all over David Starr, and that's where the fists started to fly.
Well, the Starr stopped, and one of Todd's crew guys was trying to get in his truck at him. Then when David got out, he didn't take fancy to that, obviously.
Yeah, David got out on his own.
Now they did cool down, and we saw the two drivers come together. We saw Todd Bodine and David Starr come together. Those two talked a little bit more with cooler heads. We saw Mike Hillman Sr. get involved. He's in the blue shirt. All the NASCAR officials jumping in, trying to separate this.
Got to know when those guys are there, it's time to back off, take a deep breath. This is ugly because you've got the officials in the middle of this, and
right in the middle,
and you have to respect their presence.
Adam Alexander, I believe you've caught up with one of the players in this battle.
A subdued Todd Bodine sits on the pit wall, and you've just watched all the pictures we have from the events that unfolded late in this race. First off, you and David Starr did have a very civil conversation. What was that like?
Well, first of all, I want everybody to know that David Starr is a good person. He's a great guy. He's a lot of fun to hang out with. Did he do it on purpose? No. I know he didn't. The problem is he had a really good truck, and David, when he has a good truck, has a tendency to drive just a little bit beyond the means of the truck. You know, my crew was pretty upset, obviously. He didn't take one of their trucks out. He took them both out. He took my teammate out exactly the same way. And you know, Loudon, you know, he said I cut him off. Well, you know what? I gave him the bottom groove. At Loudon, you got to be smart enough to know that the bottom groove you're going to push. You can't drive it in as hard as you did the lap before. And I don't think David's learned that that's the way it is. And, you know, he drove into both of us, drove in a left rear quarter panel and took us both out. And it's a shame. We didn't have a really good truck. The Lumber Liquidators Tundra we missed it. We missed the setup. We were going to finish 7th. And, you know, here we are with 2 wrecked race trucks. Probably dropped back again in points, all because of a really dumb error on a veteran driver, by a veteran driver. And he didn't do it once in this race. He did it twice to the same team. So we're pretty upset. But, you know, it's NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series racing at its best. Still love the series. Still like David. He's a good guy. You know, there's nothing about David that's a bad person. He just doesn't know when to choke down on the reins and slow down a little bit.
Tough break for Todd Bodine, guys.